The Power of Radical Softness, Redefining Strength for Black Professionals. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing DeMarla Stanley, a visionary whose work is fundamentally reshaping how we think about leadership, particularly for Black professionals. DeMarla isn't just another thought leader, she's a revolutionary force dismantling centuries of conditioning about what strength truly means. Her research on vulnerability as strategic advantage has already transformed thousands of careers, and her fearless questioning of established power dynamics has created ripples across industries where Black excellence was previously defined only by our capacity to endure. What makes DeMarla's perspective so powerful is her ability to articulate something many of us have felt but couldn't name, that our greatest strength might actually lie in what we've been taught to hide. We live in a world that celebrates hardness, resilience, grit, hustle culture, especially for Black professionals. There's often an unspoken expectation that success requires an impenetrable exterior. We're told to be twice as good, to never show weakness, to power through. This narrative has become so embedded in our collective consciousness that we rarely question it. But what if this fundamental assumption is wrong? What if the very qualities we've been conditioned to suppress, vulnerability, emotional openness, compassion, are actually untapped sources of professional power? This is the counterintuitive truth DeMarla Stanley illuminates. Embracing softness isn't a liability in professional spaces, it's a strategic advantage. Now, let's be clear about what softness means in this context. It's not about being passive or diminishing your presence, it's about the courage to bring your full, authentic self into spaces that may not have been designed for you. It's about leading with empathy rather than armor. It's about recognizing that vulnerability, far from being weakness, requires tremendous strength. DeMarla's research reveals three profound insights that challenge everything we thought we knew about professional success, especially for Black entrepreneurs and leaders. First, vulnerability is strength. When we allow ourselves to be open and authentic rather than constantly performing in vulnerability, we foster deeper trust within our teams. We attract collaborators who align with our true values. We create spaces where innovation can flourish because people feel safe enough to take risks. Think about the leaders who have most inspired you. Were they the ones who maintained perfect facades, never admitting doubt? Or were they the ones who had the courage to say, I don't have all the answers, but we'll figure this out together? Let me share a powerful example from the India's Ladakh region that illustrates this principle. There, a women led social enterprise called Looms of Ladakh faced significant challenges. Women artisans experienced economic insecurity due to seasonal work limitations and lacked formal recognition for their skills. The traditional approach might have been to impose rigid top down solutions. Instead, they embraced a collaborative model, introducing skill development programs and diversifying training beyond weaving into tailoring and entrepreneurship. They created spaces where women could voice their needs and participate actively in management decisions. The results were remarkable. Over 70% of employees are now women who have become primary income earners for their families. These women, traditionally marginalized from formal economic roles, despite their skills, gained agency through collective action. What's particularly striking is how this approach transformed not just individual lives, but entire communities. The project strengthened local economies while shifting gender norms around leadership. demonstrating how community driven softness creates industry wide change. This brings us to DeMarla's second key insight: community elevates success. Building supportive networks among other Black professionals isn't just beneficial, it's essential for navigating unique challenges in business environments where we're underrepresented. Success isn't a solo journey. The myth of the lone genius, the self made entrepreneur who needs no one. This narrative has never served us well. And for Black professionals facing systemic barriers, it can be particularly damaging. DeMarla's research shows that when we build authentic communities based on mutual support rather than competition, we create ecosystems where everyone can thrive. These networks become spaces where we can be vulnerable about our challenges, celebrate our victories without diminishment, and access resources that might otherwise remain out of reach. Consider what happened at Harvard Catalyst's Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine Lab, led by Dr. Eric Schmidt. The lab faced a common challenge in academic research: historically competitive cultures that led researchers toward isolation rather than collaboration across disciplines. Dr. Schmidt made a radical choice. Rather than reinforcing hierarchical structures that reward individual achievement at the expense of collective progress, he prioritized cross functional team building. He encouraged open dialogue between junior scientists and established experts, creating an environment where everyone's insights were valued. The outcomes speak for themselves. The lab achieved breakthroughs using novel methods while mentoring early career scholars who gained national recognition for collaborative excellence. After years of witnessing siloed progress, slow medical advances elsewhere, Dr. Schmidt intentionally restructured his lab culture around mentorship, what some might call soft leadership, instead of hierarchy. The lab received multiple national awards acknowledging both scientific output and inclusive team dynamics. Most importantly, his approach demonstrated that empathetic mentorship accelerates discovery, a lesson applicable far beyond medicine into any entrepreneurial endeavor where diversity drives results. This leads us to DeMarla's third transformative insight: softness spurs innovation. By embracing compassion for self and others, as well as creativity over competition alone, entrepreneurs can discover new solutions to old problems and create businesses rooted in purpose. We often think of innovation as the product of relentless drive, of pushing boundaries through sheer force of will. But DeMarla's research reveals something different. True innovation flourishes in environments where people feel safe enough to take risks, where failure is seen as learning, where diverse perspectives are genuinely valued. When we lead with compassion for ourselves and others, we create spaces where creativity can flourish. We see possibilities that remain invisible in high pressure, fear based cultures. We build businesses that solve real problems because we're actually listening to the communities we serve. The Indiana University School of Optometry demonstrates this principle in action. The school developed residency programs emphasizing mentorship, student wellness, and holistic training. They recognized that students from underrepresented backgrounds faced unique barriers to accessing advanced optometric careers, including imposter syndrome, lack of role models, and limited exposure. Rather than simply demanding that these students toughen up or work harder, IU established dedicated support structures. They expanded residencies across multiple states and promoted wellness initiatives alongside rigorous academics. Recognizing systemic gaps affecting minority students' advancement, they invested resources into faculty development and training centered on belonging and supportiveness, not just technical skill building. The results were transformative, increased retention and graduation rates among diverse students, with more graduates entering leadership roles nationally. The school became a model for integrating soft interventions like mentoring and wellness with hard science, showing other institutions that nurturing environments drive both equity and success. Now, I can already hear the skeptics. This sounds nice in theory, but the real world is tough. We can't afford to be soft. But that's exactly the mindset DeMarla's research challenges. The evidence shows that embracing vulnerability, building authentic community, and leading with compassion aren't luxuries. They're strategic advantages in a complex, rapidly changing business landscape. The most innovative companies today aren't the ones with the most cutthroat cultures. They're the ones where psychological safety is prioritized, where diverse perspectives are genuinely valued, where people feel they can bring their whole selves to work. For Black professionals in particular, this shift in perspective offers a powerful alternative to the exhausting performance of constant strength. It creates space for us to lead in ways that align with our values rather than conforming to expectations that were never designed with our well being in mind. So I challenge you today, what if you stopped performing strength and started embodying power? What if you allowed yourself to be seen, truly seen, in your professional life? What if you prioritized building authentic community over competing with your peers? What if you led with compassion rather than armor? The revolution we need won't come from becoming harder, tougher, more resilient in the face of systems that were never built for us. It will come from the radical act of softness in a world that expects us to be hard. Starting tomorrow, I want you to try one act of radical softness in your professional life. Maybe it's admitting when you don't know something. Perhaps it's reaching out to build community with other Black professionals. It could be creating space for your team to bring their full humanity to a project. Document what happens. Notice how it feels. Pay attention to what changes in you, in your relationships, in your work. Because here's what DeMarla Stanley's groundbreaking research ultimately reveals: the armor we've been taught to wear isn't protecting us, it's limiting us. Our vulnerability isn't our weakness, it's our greatest untapped power. Our community isn't a distraction from success, it's the foundation of it. Our compassion isn't soft, it's revolutionary. The time has come to redefine strength on our own terms, to recognize that the most powerful act available to us might be the courage to be soft in a world that demands hardness, to understand that in our vulnerability lies our greatest innovation, in our community lies our greatest resilience, in our compassion lies our greatest leadership. This isn't just about professional success, though that will come. This is about liberation. This is about creating a world where we don't have to leave parts of ourselves behind to succeed. This is about building spaces where the next generation of Black professionals can thrive without the exhausting performance of invulnerability. The revolution begins with you, with your radical softness, with your courage to be seen, with your willingness to lead not from behind armor, but from the authentic core of who you are. The world is waiting. The revolution of radical softness has begun. Will you join us?